wagon contains the last ton of coal that we took out of the mountain. That is also what is written in Russian, 31st of March 1998. This wagon contains the last ton of coal of the mine Pyramiden. Since it has been standing here since 1998, a lot of tourists have taken small pieces of coal as souvenirs. Now it may not be a ton anymore, perhaps only 900 kilograms. You're welcome to take a picture. As you take a picture, there's one thing which I will ask you to respect. During our trip, you are welcome to ask me anything, but please respect that I will not take political questions and I will not discuss politics with you. Most of you will have a very different opinion of things than me. That's the way it is. Sometimes we have to agree to disagree. My job here is not talking politics. My job is to show you the settlement.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have the chance to take a quick picture and then we start our trip and we start walking.
Của em còn ở battery không? Gì không?
50 mấy phần.
Được.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, then I may kindly ask you to follow me and we start our trip.
All right.
You may have thought the beating heart here in Pyramiden is the bar and our famous restaurant, but that's not quite right. The beating heart of Pyramiden is right in front of you, the rather unsuspicious looking building with the 3 large gates. That is our garage, but here in Pyramiden, the same as in Longyearbyen, we have central heating. So we have a coal-fired boiler inside that produces the heating and the warm water we use here in Pyramiden. Also the small yellow building which you see, that is the power station. We have now 4 different diesel generators, and in the future we have plans to develop a more green energy source, but until that time comes we have to use our diesel generators. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I told you we are a Soviet or Russian settlement, but we are on Norwegian territory.
All right.
That means we have, ladies and gentlemen, please follow the group. That means we have to abide by the Norwegian law, and the Norwegian police has authority over us. But we cannot call Longyearbyen with any small traffic accidents or drunkenness. That's why we have an agreement with the Norwegian governor. We can have some sort of a helping police. The helping police are the people who work as firefighters. They also worked in the mine rescue team to take workers that were injured out of the mine. But one of their side functions was to work as a helping police. The building of the helping police is the 2-story wooden building with the little tower on top.
Okay.
That building houses 2 small prison cells. One of them is quite in good shape, and 2 years ago we almost had to use it. Why? There was a group of ladies, students from Longyearbyen, coming here to Pyramiden to have a party in the weekend, to have a good time. One of the ladies had an ex-boyfriend who did not understood that he was ex. So this man came also up from the mainland to Longyearbyen, wanted to visit his ex-girlfriend and perhaps make her change her mind. When he came to Longyearbyen, they told him, yes, the girls have gone to Pyramiden. So this man also came here. We see a man walking in the settlement, smoking all the time, quite nervous, drinking beer. Well, we see a lot of strange things with visitors, so we didn't pay any attention at the first. In the evening, me and my supervisor, we sit home drinking tea, planning the next day's work. The lady in the reception called us on the radio. We have a problem, you must come. Usually that means a polar bear in town. But this time it proved slightly more difficult. So we went to the reception, and the friends of this girl in question had complained to the receptionist that the girl feels stalked and threatened by this ex-boyfriend. So I went upstairs, and this man was about to break the door of the hotel room where the girl was standing. I cannot reveal to you in detail how we handled the situations because we have no authority to physically touch people. But I've been 10 years in the border guards. Believe me, I can make myself heard. Once I handled him, not so gently, so much I can reveal. I told him, you have two choices. Either you calm down, you go to your room, and we do not see you until the next day, or we call the police. Well, we did call them anyway, of course. And until they arrive, I will put you in our local jail. Once I mentioned our jail, he was getting so frightened. He was getting so small with the hat on his head and very compliant and went to his room. As we heard later, he was still arrested by the police in Longyearbyen because we had called them, of course. The friends of this lady in question had contacted them, and he had to spend 6 months in prison because issuing threats to a woman is a very serious crime in Norway. Unfortunately, it was a Norwegian prison. It should be a better punishment in our prison because I heard Norwegian prisons are like hotels. So, ladies and gentlemen, the yellow building with the tower, it's not the church, it's not the school, that is our local heliport. Because there are only 3 ways to come here to Pyramiden in the summertime. One is like you did today with the ship. The other one, if you are very fit, you can walk here from Longyearbyen. It would take about a month or 2.
Okay.
But we also have a helicopter service. That, of course, is not for tourists. It's only for local people, exchange of personal, fresh supplies and spare parts. And the helicopter lands in our local heliport.
All right.
The Elfra accident that you mentioned.
Yes. No, it was in Longyearbyen, outside Longyearbyen, lady. It was about 15 kilometers outside Longyearbyen. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we approach, I told you at the harbor that in the old days the fjord was frozen about 7 or 8 months a year. That meant here in Pyramiden we had to be almost self-sufficient in the wintertime. That's why we had a huge farming complex. We had living cows, living pigs, living chickens, and these are the buildings you see ahead of you now on your left-hand side. We even had a rather big greenhouse, and as late as 1998, people come here from Longyearbyen with the day tour ships, just like you did today, for the one and only purpose to buy fresh tomatoes, fresh cucumbers, and other fruits and vegetables in our greenhouse, because the quality of the produce here was so much better than they could offer in the shop in Longyearbyen. It's only 27 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please join the group? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I told you we have a lot of international nicknames here. We are not Eskimos living in igloos. The first building that has a not so interesting nickname, but I still have to explain it. It's the 4-story apartment building covered in wood. That what you see now on your right hand side. That building is nicknamed London. Why London? I hope we have no British people amongst you, especially none from London. They may get a little bit offended now. The Scottish and Irish people, on the other hand, will like what I have to tell. Why is this building nicknamed London? Well, when it was finished in the late 80s, it was meant to be the living quarters of the local party elite, the higher management, the trade union bosses, short to say, all people who had some sort of power and authority. The ordinary people thought it was a very sad, trist and boring atmosphere in this building. Not a happy place to be, kind of like London, always the rain and the fog, not nice weather. So that's why they did nickname it London. We have a building here nicknamed Paris, which is the exact opposite of the sad, trist and boring atmosphere of London. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I told you Pyramiden was founded because of coal mining. Usually, all over the world, coal mines are underground. Pyramiden and Longyearbyen is one of the few exceptions of that rule. The mine entrance here in Pyramiden is about 500 meters above sea level.
Cool.
You see it always up on the mountain slope, the red brick building. That was the main entrance of the mine.
Oh,
To get up there, workers of course could not run up and down every day. So they built in the tunnel on the right hand side a small railroad that took the workers from the base of the mountain up to the entrance of the mine. The trip lasted about 7 minutes. Here you have goose. You hear them. Also, ladies and gentlemen, the coal we took out of the mountain could simply not be thrown down. That's why we built in the tunnel on the left-hand side a conveyor belt that took the coal from the mountain down to the entrance of the mine on the base of the mountain, where it was loaded in the northernmost, longest railroad in the world. If I say the longest northernmost railroad, the northernmost railroad would be in New Orleans, but they have only about few hundred meters. Here we had 2 kilometers, so we are the northernmost, longest railroad in the world.
hey,
Here, ladies and gentlemen, the yellow building in front of you, that was the pig house in the old days. There were over 200 pigs, or how you call it, pork pigs were in there. And even people in the old days from Longyearbyen came here to buy meat in our pig house because it was natural meat. It was not fed with any kind of chemicals. It was very good meat. So, ladies and gentlemen, as the observant, I'm sure all of you are very observant, have already noticed there's some writing up on the mountainside. Always. That reads Mir Mir in Russian because we are Soviet settlement, and it translated into English like world peace or peace of the world. It was put up in the early 70s by people here on a voluntary base. It's made out of big wooden logs nailed into the granite in the mountain. And until Perestroika, there was even a wooden portrait of Lenin under there. Once the Soviet Union declined, unfortunately people took down Lenin and replaced it with the sign Tula. It's a very important town in Russia, and that was the hometown of the people who put up this sign.
how many people live in this town?
Now we are 22, sir.
Oh, that's a lot.
In the old days we were up to 1,600.
What are you doing here now, except for tours?
I'm actually not a guide. I'm with the technical department. I'm responsible for the safety of the people, and we do everything but paperwork. That I can tell you.
Question.
Yes,
What
lady.
about all the
That is in the winter time when it's ice on the road. We put ash, so
that's
that we can
ash.
drive with the
I thought
yes.
it's coal.
No, it's ash. It's ash, lady. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have told you about the building nicknamed London.
London.
A rather sad, boring, and trist atmosphere in this
Paris.
building. Now we have the exact opposite, the building nicknamed Paris. It's a 4-story apartment building now on your left-hand side.
Oh, look like a
Why is this building nicknamed Paris? Well, first of all, that was the building where we had our pub. On the ground floor, we could go at the work, have a beer, a vodka or two. But even more important, that was the building where the single ladies lived. It was also the building in the floor above where the single men lived. Now you kind of get an idea why it was called Paris and why it was a much happier place to be than the sad and boring atmosphere of London with all the bosses. The final reason why it was nicknamed Paris, when the building was opened, they were so proud. They were so proud of it. It was such a nice building. So they invited a very famous Soviet actress from the mainland to come here to be present at the opening. This lady, of course, had traveled all over the world. And when she came here, she was wearing such a beautiful dress. The local people had never seen anything like it before. So they asked her, Svetlana, where did you get this dress? And she said very casually, oh, nothing special, I bought it 2 weeks ago in Paris. That's why the building finally got
Paris.
its nickname. But believe me, it also lived up to its reputation. With all the single ladies, the single men, the pub, imagine yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next building, which I will explain, which has a nickname, is the building in front of you with the many birds.
Oh,
That
man.
building is named a Durdom, or translated in English, the crazy or the mad house. It's not because of the noise the birds do. Believe me, it's terrible. That was the building where families lived who had a lot of children. And in the dark season, November, December, January, children were not playing so much outside. They were, of course, mostly playing inside. And imagine every corridor, 30, 40 children playing football, riding bicycles from the morning to the evening. What mess and noise it was. That's why the building got its nickname, the Crazy House. As you see, it's still sort of a family home today, but now the birds have taken over for the people. That was also the building when Pyramid was closed in 1998. That was the building where the last 30, 40 people lived here who worked in this place before the closure. We had our own kitchen, health station, our own small shop. It was like a big family. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly ask you to follow me?
Man tänker på nu
First building which we will enter is called dining hall, main kitchen, or canteen. That is the building, one of the oldest still standing buildings here in Germany. It was built in 1959. It was also originally not meant to be the dining room. It was meant to be the culture house. You can still see in the window, up on the glasses, Kino, the Russian word for cinema, and under it, which films were shown that specific evening. On the right hand side, you see сегодня в Дом культуры, today at the Culture House, what events or concerts were held that specific day. The reason why it was converted into the dining hall, when the population was growing, all the big apartment buildings were built, then the old dining hall was not big enough, so they remodeled it to the new dining hall, and we got our new culture house that we will visit at the end of our trip. Unfortunately, group number 2, they are quite slowly in the talking on the picture.
Jest szansa, że oni z tego jeszcze zrobią jakiś... No.
That is the building where people who live and work is now.
Only is in Barentsburg.
Why?
I know. But before it was transported to Murmansk. To Murmansk.
They of course can be opened because of fire safety. Do not think people are locked up here. We had last year, we had a cruise ship here, and some passengers asked me quietly, what is your sentence? They thought we were a big penal colony here. And I told them, if I would have a sentence, I would not walk around with a fire. But they didn't believe me anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, then we are about to enter the main kitchen or the main dining room. As we go in there, I will kindly ask you to follow me precisely. Do not go into any corridors, any stairways. Please only go where I go.
Okay.
As we walk inside, we go straight up to the second floor. There are 2 stairways. We may use both. In between the stairways, there even was a small tropical garden. There were palms, orchids, all kinds of tropical plants. So even in the middle of the winter time, in the polar night, when you came to have your meal, you see the tropical garden and you would feel like you're in Thailand or in the Maldives. In the middle of the tropical garden was even a small fountain. Usually that fountain was fed with water. But on 2 occasions, 9th of May, it's the Victory Day in Soviet Union over Germany, and the Miners' Day, which is always the last Sunday in August, this fountain was fed not with water. Most of you will guess wrong now. It was not fed with vodka either. It was fed with wine. Why wine and not vodka? I mean, we are a Soviet settlement, not an Italian. But, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately the system on Svalbard is the same. Overall, spirits are limited. We can only buy 1 liter of vodka a month and 24 cans or bottles of beer. But wine and champagne are without limit. You can buy as much as you want or as much as you have money. And that's why the management made the decisions. The 2 holidays, we do not feed it with vodka, simply not to use the people's limit. We feed it with wine. And believe me, if you drink enough wine, it just has the same effect as vodka. So please follow me, ladies and gentlemen, and we go straight up to the 2nd floor.
Whoa, dark. I have a question for you.
Yes,
So you said it's a dining hall. So everybody eat here. Who is eating here?
I will speak about it in a second.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Beautiful here. Wow, it's a big dining hall.
Then we are at the main dining hall. Now you only see a few chairs or tables left standing, but at the height of activity, over 200 people could eat here at the same time. In the old days, none of the apartment buildings had kitchens. It was because of fire safety. So all the people living and working in Pyramiden, from the lowest cleaning worker up to the director of the mine, came here 3 times a day to have their meals. The food was completely free of charge. It was included in your contract. And the food here was of the highest possible quality. No frozen pizzas or prefabricated hamburgers. Everything was made from the ground up. We had over 40 people working in the kitchen to make sure it's running. The kitchen worked around the clock because the mine was working around the clock in 4 shifts. So did the kitchen. So you could come here at any given time of the day to have your meal. And the food was so much prized. It was so much better than on the Soviet mainland. That was a political reason to get the best possible workers to come here and work in this place, and we got the best possible treatment. We had very high wages for Soviet time. We all usually worked here in the old days on 2-year contracts. Once you had worked here 2 years, you usually had earned enough money to buy a house and a car. Try to do this any other place in the world today, you won't make it as a normal people. So, ladies and gentlemen, the food was delivered buffet style. You pick your plate and you picked what you wanted. 10 meatballs, 20 pork chops, 100 potatoes. You could pick as much as you want, but the golden rule was you had to eat it here. You could not take it home with you. We had a small shop downstairs on the first floor where we would get sausages, food, chocolates, also very important where you picked up your monthly vodka ration, cigarettes and so on. And in the old days we didn't have any money. So the ladies back the counter had a big book. They wrote your name, your family name, what you took, how much it cost, and it was taken at the end of the month of your salary. So, ladies and gentlemen, the dining hall, like anything else, was highly decorated. Now you only see a few remains of plants, but you should be here in the 90s. It was like walking into an outdoor garden. There were fruit trees, flowers, green plants everywhere. We even had a small field of grass, really live green grass here, where children could play in the middle of the winter time in really live green grass while their parents had their meal. Longyearbyen had never anything like it. The mosaic you see, ladies and gentlemen, behind me on the wall, it was made of local people on a voluntary base. In Russian we call it Subotnik, in Norwegian they call it Dugnad. I don't know what they call it in English, but work without pay. It's made out of circle glass, and it describes, of course, the mountain of Pyramiden, the mountain around the fjord. Anything on Svalbard, of course, has to be with the polar bear. And the person sitting in the corner, it's a character from a medieval Karelian folk epic hero. He and his wolf, please do not enter the kitchen. He and his wolf, it's not a dog, it's a wolf. They were kind of like the saint patron of Pyramiden and kept an eye on us. So, ladies and gentlemen, then I may kindly ask you to follow me back outside, downstairs, so we can continue our trip.
Okay.
现在我们下到先出发点了，现在我们要下到1层楼记住我们的那个行程啊。然后上面呢，这个地方是餐厅，那个地方呢是一个自助餐，就是自助餐盘，然后可以就这些家庭过来以后，家庭的单位然后来吃餐食，然后呢，然后在1层楼呢有一个小商店，小商店里面有一些烟啊、酒啊，都是伏特加，然后刚刚就说了一下那个画。
for the first or second group. None of mine, of course. Please wait for me here, ladies and gentlemen. I have to make sure anyone is outside the building.
I missed your name.
Johan.
Johan.
Johan, yeah.
So I have a question. So
Yes, sir.
why the bird specifically like a bed?
They consider it as a bird rock. They do not see it as a house.
Okay.
So they simply consider it a bird rock.
All the birds.
Yes, yes. And they're going to have children soon. And it's going to have more noise.
每个国家都是是吧？
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
那那个画呢？它是俄罗斯人画的吗？
我不知道这是
它就是那个画，它是那个画是 well kept。
他的 warranty 做的，就是说。
Just give me a second, ladies and gentlemen.
Sao chấm gì hả? Làm gì? Chưa. Đứng cái cửa nhà này chụp cho.
今天看到那个女的，我给她是不是很 happy 啊？是不是先生？
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, then we are about to continue our trip.
Hold on.
I will put your attention to the building where the bus stands in front. That is, ladies and gentlemen, the northernmost full-service hotel in the world. That is our hotel where we have 44 renovated rooms, the bar, the restaurant, we have the souvenir shop, the post office.
Cái này nó để 1959.
Perhaps if you come
Thấy không?
back
Cái năm bờ
another time and
xây năm
stay
1959.
one or
Oh,
two
okay.
days in our settlement, that's most likely the place where you end up. The single ladies amongst you, of course, are welcome to visit me in my apartment. It's open, yes. It's the northernmost full-service hotel. That is only open seasonally. It's just a minor detail, but it's the northernmost service hotel in the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, then we continue our trip. As I told you, we had over 1,600 people living and working here at the height of the activity in the late 70s, early 80s. That, of course, were a lot of family people. That meant a lot of children. That's why we had the northernmost school in the world and the second northernmost kindergarten in the world. These are the buildings you see in front of you now. The first floor of this building was the school. The second floor was the kindergarten. If I say the next northernmost kindergarten, that is because a very small settlement in northern Greenland, Siropaluk, beats us by about 100 kilometers. They had a kindergarten, but they didn't have a school. So in front of you, you have the northernmost school in the world. Also, ladies and gentlemen, the building that appears now on your left-hand side, the small white building, that is called the refrigerator. That is basically what it is, because it was the storage place for merchandise that had to keep cool. It's empty now in 27 years, but the smell of food, meat, is still inside, and almost every polar bears we have in the settlement, they still go and walk around the building, checking out if there perhaps is something left. But the building is empty, but the smell of food is still kept in there.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I have told you we have a lot of international nicknames here. Now I may invite you to walk with me on our local Champs-Élysées.
中间是说了，但是因为我一会儿前头一会儿后头的，就是我现在找到一点错点，我就会去翻译，然后又跑过来。
So, ladies and gentlemen, then we are at our local Champs-Élysées. The official name of this street is the street in honor the 60 years anniversary of the Great October Revolution. A rather long and not so easy to remember name. I'm sure Champs-Élysées sounds a lot better. Why Champs-Élysées? Well, I have never been in the French capital. I may never even go there, but I've been told it is the same layout. It's a road, and a piece of grass in the middle. It is also the center square of the town. The wooden buildings you see around you, that were the buildings that were put up in the late 1950s. That the buildings are still quite in good shape, even if they're almost 70 years old. That is because of the climate. The climate on Svalbard is very dry. That means wood almost doesn't rot or doesn't rot at all.
Oh.
That's why the buildings from the 50s still quite so good, look quite good. As I told you, the building behind you that is renovated, that is our living quarter. Those of us who are here on short-term contracts in the summertime, they have fellow living rooms in the first floor. Those of us who are here around the year, we have nice and comfortable apartments on the second floor, much better and much cheaper than in Longyearbyen. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we have no small children amongst us, I may reveal the nickname of yet another building. You see the small wooden building, two-story wooden building. That is the building that has the nickname The Strip. Officially it's named the Director's House, because that's where in the old days the director used to live before they moved to London. But why it's nicknamed The Strip? Well, in the 90s we had in this building were living 3 ladies. One of the ladies in her late 30s, all of them worked in the kitchen, while her husband worked the night shift up in the mine. She usually had 1 or 2 male visitors that evening. And I have been told her husband was quite okay with that, because the customers paid with vodka, which her husband then would use to drink with his friends. So it was a win-win situation for everyone.
That's not a win-win situation.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as we walk up on the square, you see a medal or monument appear in the middle. That was put up in 1996 to honor the 65 years anniversary of our company, Trust Arctic Eagle, here on the island. That is also what it says, 65 years. Arctic Eagle, the name of our company, simply means Arctic coal. And on the right hand side, Spitsbergen, which is simply the Russian name for Svalbard. Like I told you, anything on Svalbard has to be with the polar bear. You may ask why the polar bear on the picture doesn't look any real. It was not because the painter was drunk. It was simply in the 90s there were very little polar bears around the area. Many people have never even seen one. So they simply didn't have, yes, you can walk. They simply didn't have a model to work up. What they found a small toy polar bear in the kindergarten. He was standing the model for this painting. It was also kindergarten children who painted it.
你等我们大家都照个没人的照片，你再照。
Thank you.
这样的话，我
The
们都照。
79 is the...
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you see 79. Quite technically, we are here at 7840. But at such an important anniversary, 65 years, I suppose it's allowed to cheat a little bit. And 79 looks a lot better than 7840.
45入了呗就。
他写个79多好看。
Yes, ladies and
nhỏ mà
gentlemen,
áo vàng
the
đó là
next
tu nó
building which I will explain to you,
tàu á.
Oh yeah.
鹿茸。
that is the former mine office or
Sabik.
administration of the mine. The building itself is not of so much interest. What is of interest, if you look carefully, on the upper floor, the 4 last windows to the right are covered in bars. It's not the prison. I showed you where the prison is. That was in the 70s and early 80s until the perestroika. In these 4 rooms, we had 4 local KGB officers working and have their place of work. Those people did not control the local population so much, because if you came up here, you were already truly checked on the mainland. They kept an eye what the Norwegians were doing in Longyearbyen. The Norwegians had their secret police. They kept an eye what these 4 people were doing. So they were basically only watching each other, and they usually left the normal people alone. Quite a nice arrangement.
That's the name of the street?
Yes, 60. The street to honor the 60 years anniversary of the Great October Revolution.
Oh.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as we walk up close to the sea, you see a statue appear at the end of the square. Pyramiden, like any other Soviet settlement with
Lenin.
respect of itself, has of course to have a statue of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. Lenin was the leader of the Great October Revolution and the founder of the Soviet Union. We get asked a lot of questions by visitors. Why do you let him stand? Why do you not take him down? The communism era is over. My answer, quite simple. You can like it or not, but Lenin is part of Soviet and Russian history. You cannot. Sir! Sir! Do not stray away from the group. Please come back.
Yeah, listen.
It's part of Soviet and Russian history, and you cannot change it. It has happened. You have to own it. That's why we let him stand in peace. By the way, of course, it's the northernmost Lenin in the world. And each and every visitor can make up its own mind about him. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next building, which I will explain on the left-hand side, that was the northernmost hospital in the world. A pyramid, like any other normal settlement, of course, had a functioning hospital. There were over 30 doctors, nurses, and other medical personnel working there. The main function of the hospital was, of course, ordinary diseases, sickness, accidents in the mine. But as the result of the happy life in the building, nicknamed Paris, the single woman, the single man above, quite a number of children were actually born here in Pyramid. When I was here in 1997, 1998, we had 11 childbirths to celebrate. And they, of course, were born in our hospital. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next building, which we will visit in a few minutes, it is the northernmost, needless to say, swimming pool in the world. As we enter the swimming pool, it's time to speak a little bit about water. The water here in Pyramiden we get from 2 artificial lakes up in the valley. The water is of the highest possible quality. The problem here has always been quantity. When the settlement was fully operating, it was very difficult to keep it supplied with the amount of water needed. That's why the management made the decision, when we built the swimming pool, we use only 2/3 of fresh water and supply it with 1/3 of seawater, simply to save some amount of water.
You have so much ice and snow. You don't have enough fresh water?
We have enough, but imagine 1,600 people, and the mine needs lots
so
of
many
water.
people.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please join the group. Sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will kindly ask you, we keep together. We go first into the swimming pool. Then we go together to the culture house. You have time to take pictures of Lenin after we finish our trip. For the time being, please follow me. Also, as we enter the swimming pool, I will kindly ask you to follow me precisely. Do not enter any corridors, sideways, any stairways, for a very good reason. Almost every year we lose people in there. 2 years ago, one of our guides, not me because I'm not a guide usually, had a group of tourists just like you, ladies and gentlemen, met the ship, went to the building, to the culture house, the bus picked them up, and the ship left at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. At 9 o'clock in the evening, me and my boss, we did some work on the light poles, and we heard some banging. The banging was getting louder. Finally, glass up in the stairway broke. 3 faces appeared inside, one of them with blood on the hands because he had broken the glass, and they cried for help. So I got the key, locked them out, and asked them what did happen. They had been with the tour, straight away from the group, entered the corridor and stairway, and did not find their way out again. All 3, of course, had to spend the night in our hotel. 2 of them missed their flight back to Norway the next day because they were simply still here. One of them got in trouble with his wife because he was so long out of cell phone coverage. His wife thought he was up to something else. So for your own good, please follow me precisely. Okay, may I ask you, ladies and gentlemen? You have time to take pictures, please follow the group. You have time to take picture after the tour. Yes.
H 就是 N 呐
，H 是 N， 前面那个像 A 一样，实际不是 A， L 之类的，没有音。给他这种。
It was in the Soviet Union, it was a must for every school children to learn all about Lenin. Even in kindergarten, we had already learned all about Lenin, so we did had to wait in school. We knew all about him before we entered school. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please follow me inside. Please follow me inside the swimming pool.
这里头呢是一个游泳池。
幸福。
全程跟着他，不允许到处走。
And you can feel the difference. It's much colder inside than outside. It's the buildings, they function like big refrigerators. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, then we are at the world's northernmost swimming pool. Actually, the swimming pool was a multi-function building. We had a small children's swimming pool, 6 by 8 meters. We had weight rooms, massaging cabinets, and other sporting rooms, and the main swimming pool that we will visit. To be able to enter the swimming pool, a whole set of rules did apply. Those who read Russian may read it on the table, but the most important I can tell you now, you had to be sober. You could not be influenced with the alcohol. We had a lady sitting there, she had a pipe like the police have when they stop you at the highway, and you have to blow. If you blow green, welcome, yellow or red, come back another time. There was, of course, one exception of that rule. On Saturday evening, we had a very special event inside the swimming pool. We had a more or less official water discotheque. If I say more or less official, the management knew about it, but they simply turned ignored. And that was also the only event where alcohol kind of was tolerated inside the swimming pool. No discotheque without alcohol, of course. And we had a lady from the shop sitting there at the counter. She had bottles of beer, bottles of wine in the shop. We would buy coupons, 2 for beer and 2 for wine, and we would exchange them with the lady. Water discotheque lasted from 8 o'clock in the evening till 3, 4, 5, and so on in the morning. Anyone can understand 2 glasses of beer, 2 glasses of wine, not enough. That's why I can guarantee you almost anyone had a bottle or 2 vodka hidden under his clothes. But what if you already had used your monthly limit? Well, now it's time to speak about international community in Germany. In the old days, people from all 15 Soviet republics were living and working here. In the 90s, we had people from the Baltic states, we had people from Moldova, from Central Asia. The most interesting people when it comes to alcohol are those from Central Asia. Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, because these are Muslims. And most Muslims do not drink. Some of them do. They say Allah don't see it in the dark season. But most of them do not drink. Even if they do not drink, they have the same right for the monthly limit of vodka than me. So with these people, you could borrow. You buy some food or some chocolate for her, give him or her some clothes, and she or he would give you his monthly limit. That's why I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, even if officially we had only 1 liter of vodka a month and 2 glasses of beer, 2 glasses of wine, in the water discotheque, anyone was still getting quite drunk. I may also put your attention, ladies and gentlemen, to the wooden works on the wall, on the handrails and on the ceiling. All the timber, of course, came up from the mainland. As I told you on the bus, we did not put it on the shore, but all the work with the timber was done here in our local workshop, and mostly it was done by hand. There was some machinery, but mostly by hand, and you see the result of the mastering. Now I may ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to follow me upstairs into the main swimming hall.
就是他刚才说这个天花板是这个跑进去。但是呢，这里就有很多什么哈萨克斯坦，什么有什么哈萨克斯坦啊，都是斯里兰教的喝酒。但是呢，俄罗斯人就喝酒啊，什么这种情侣的地方，什么没有。因为当时他们这个有很多的那个民族嘛，然后对那个很多俄罗斯人本身是然后搭了很多的这个小酒馆，然后像很重要小青角啊，然后这个青角有个
直播呢。
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, then we are at the main swimming pool. As you can see, an ordinary standard size 25 meter swimming pool. The water temperature in here was kept between 28 and 32 degrees. Very nice, very comfortable to swim and to have activities here. We had not only ordinary swimming hours here, but also competitions. Mainly between Barentsburg and Pyramiden, once a month. Needless to say, we did beat them all the time. Twice a year, we even had visitors from Longyearbyen. We had a sporting exchange. And most of the time, unfortunately for those of you who are Norwegians, we did win as well. When we had ordinary swimming hours here, there were always two lifeguards, I don't know what it's called, like Baywatch, yes, lifeguards. And on duty, and when we had the water discotheque, we had two lifeguards here and two from the helping police. First of all, to make sure no one is getting too drunk. And as usually, when a man asks a lady to dance, the lady says no, the man doesn't take a no for no, then we would simply grab him, drag him outside and drive him right to our prison. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, it happened 10 to 15 times every Saturday, especially during the morning hours when anyone already had quite enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, now please, may I have your attention? I will kindly ask you to follow me now outside. We go together into the culture house. I will have a short representation, inform you of our services, and then you have some time of your own. I will tell you where you can walk and where you cannot walk, and what time the bus will pick us up back to the harbor. For the time being, I will kindly ask you to follow me inside the culture house. You will have time to take pictures of Lenin in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
那个我们一会儿呢到外头照那个列宁的那个像给大家看，然后这个游泳池是个标准的游泳池。
对。
Just follow me into the culture house.
你这不能有吗？
Cái này nó bỏ phế cho người năm nào? 1998 hả?
Không biết bỏ đâu để khái.
我们的长。要的是你。
这不迷路的奇怪，不打死我找不着道。
The sport complex was named after Yuri Gagarin. Sport complex имени Гагарина. Yuri Gagarin, of course, the first person on Earth that was up in space long before the Americans. So, ladies and gentlemen, then we are about to enter the culture house. The culture house was built in 1968. It's made after the same design as many other buildings like this in the Soviet North. It's quite good today, so even if it is built in 68, you could think it's built yesterday.
Not yesterday.
I will kindly ask you to follow me inside the culture house. I will have a short representation. But before we get there, may I have anyone's attention? Once we go into the culture house, I have a short representation. I will inform you of our services. Then you have some time of your own. You are welcome to walk on the square around Lenin, but do not go down the streets and do not cross any of the bridges. Only keep around Lenin because I have to be able to see where you are at all times. The bus back to the harbor will depart at about 16:20, plus minus. 5 minutes before the bus will depart, I will go through the building, call you group number 3. Of course, you're the best group of all of them.
Yeah.
Group number 3. The bus will leave in 5 minutes. Then we will meet here outside and we will walk together to the bus. So you're welcome to walk around Lenin once I have done my representation, but do not go down the street and do not cross any of the bridges. Then, ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you...
现在呢，就跟着他进行，他是接着讲解，他就一会儿呢会给大家。
They live under the our living house, under the cable communications. Yeah. But they may sleep now, they may hunting, so sorry lady, I cannot order them on the radio.
No idea. 干什么的都不知道。
他坐车过来了。
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, then we are at the northernmost culture house in the world. The culture house is quite a misleading name because we have the concert hall, the cinema, the indoor sporting range, and upstairs we have a library. For those of you who wish to use the toilet, we have toilets in the corridor. The first door to the right is the ladies' toilet. The second door to the right is the gentleman's.
OK， 好了。
Also, ladies and gentlemen,
这我就不理解。
we have our library. Now we have remodeled it. That contains our souvenir shop and the cafeteria. As you visit the Soviet settlement, it's almost a must. It's a must have a shop. And in Russian, we have said, you not only stand on one leg, you stand on two. That's why you
没来用多等啊，等这有。欢迎您，欢迎您。
also we have a significant
好快，20年。
exactly what it is, 78%. For the ladies of you, you may buy some of our chocolate, you may visit the souvenir shop, but we are on a very tight schedule, so try to make the shopping complete. So, ladies and gentlemen, now
OK， đi.
you're welcome to walk in the culture house.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
of the buildings, the doors that are open. You're welcome to visit the souvenir shop, the cafeteria. I will be here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And about 5 minutes before the bus leaves, I will connect all of you and we will go together to the bus. It's about 16:20, 16:20. It depends how slowly it goes. Because you are fast to okay. It's about 16:20.
My Google Chat.